This is the last technique I want to show you, and I call this the quick and dirty method. And what this is it's combining a few of the other techniques together into one method, but it's doing it in a very easy way, and you can create really complex and really exciting looking motion typography, and it's very easy to do. So let's add just a little bit to this so that we can, let's put a "the" up above this. Maybe go in here, give it a and then let's add one more. Okay, so the quick and dirty method. And so how this works is we're going to be doing a camera movement, and we're going to be moving the layers and animating the layers. And we're going to kind of compound them on top of each other. And so in the camera flyover, it was just camera movement. In the masking and using many layers, we are doing just layer movements. So the quick and dirty method is we're going to be combining them both together, and it creates kind of a really cool way of doing motion typography, and it's very easy to do once you get the hang of it. So first off, I like to animate the camera, and then we're going to animate the text. So let's bring in a new camera. So a new camera layer. Okay. And it gave me this box saying camera and lights don't affect 2D layers because I don't have any of the layers turned 3D yet. And I just click OK. And then when I turn these layers 3D, everything will be just fine. I'm going to go ahead and turn the background 3D as well. Now, let's start with the camera where it's at. Keyframe everything. Let's go forward just a few frames. I chose 5 frames. And then let's zoom in using the camera tools to the Z movement and then the XY movement. So I'm just hitting C on the keyboard to change between them. Right to the, because that's going to be our first word. The. Give it a pause. That was 5 frames. And then we're going to zoom out. Frame up the word quick. So this is very similar to kind of what we did with the flyover, but it'll be different here in a second. Zoom out. I'm going to zoom out so we can see quick and. And I'm just hitting C on the keyboard to cycle through my camera tools. Give it a little bit of a pause. And then this will be our last camera movement. And then I'm going to copy these original keyframes and then go way out here a few seconds. So we got the quick and dirty method. And maybe that's a little bit, let's have it way out there so there's a nice slow zoom out at the end. Okay, so now that we have this, we need to animate the text because we don't want it to be just kind of like the camera flyover like we had done before. This needs to be a little bit more interesting, a little bit more dynamic. So we want to animate the layers and the camera together. So the first one is the. So let's come in here to animate, enable per character 3D, and then let's go into rotation. And we want it to go 270 degrees. Then let's go to the range selector. And at this point, remember with the camera movement, if I hit U on the keyboard, it brings up my keyframes. At this point is where it hits. And so that's where we want the word the to show up. So let's go back into the word the. So under that animator, with that range selector, we want everything to be unselected. So let's go to 100% on the start. And then let's go to the top and bring that 100% to 0. Also to this animator, I'm going to add opacity and bring that opacity down to 0. So they can kind of spin in. And if I turn on motion blur, then those spinning in will spin in as well. And it's a little bit fast for me, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand those keyframes so they're a little bit slower, so they're further apart. Okay, so there's the, and then to quick. And with quick, I want it to slide in. But you'll remember that the word quick is all one word. So I need to duplicate this and use a mask. This is another technique we had learned. So I'm going to just rename this to quick. Let's grab my mask tool. I'm going to go ahead and hide the other layer. And then we're going to just keyframe the position on this one. And about right here, we want the position to be all the way off the screen. And then I'm going to cut that layer. Or if I just hover over the end of the layer, I can move it to right there. So the quick, and make sure we put motion blur on that one too. And then the next one is the word and. So let's duplicate this quick. I'm going to just move this over the end of the layer. And let's bring up the mask. And just move it over so it says and not quick, because we want these to be on separate layers. So the quick. And with and, I want to go in and take off the position keyframe that we had already set. And then I'm going to use the pan behind tool to move my anchor point to right in the center. Then I'm going to hit S on the keyboard, brings up my scale, keyframe the scale, move it a few frames, about 2 or 3, and then increase it. So then it'll look like it pops on. But I need that to start a little bit sooner. Okay, now the last one is dirty. So I just duplicated that again. Let's give these names. Just hit return on the keyboard when you highlight it. Let's move the mask. Okay, now with this one, it's already 3D, and I'm going to move it as a 3D layer. So I'm going to open up my position. I just hit P on the keyboard. And right here where it lands is where I want the word to land. Keyframe the position. And we're going to move it in Z space. Okay, and then at that point we can have the layer start there as well. So let's see what we have so far. And then with the word method, I want that just to kind of fade on slowly. But I don't want to do just a simple cross dissolve. So let's grab the pen tool and do kind of just a funky shape around the word method. Let's go into the mask. Let's feather that mask. And then we can keyframe the mask expansion. And it'll create kind of a cool looking dissolve. Let's have the feather be about 30. Bring the mask expansion down. And then over time, good second or so, let's bring it up all the way. Let's take a look at this in full motion. So that is the quick and dirty method. Fairly simple. The key to this is you do the camera movements first, and then after you have the camera movements, you go in and you animate the layers. So it's a really easy way to create lots of dynamic movement and motion to your typography without a lot of knowledge in After Effects. So try it out.